Raw podcast. As an integrated trauma-informed coach and a narcissistic abuse specialist, it is my mission to empower you to heal, to grow, and to really thrive in the aftermath of narcissistic abuse. I truly believe that every single person has the inherent capacity to overcome adversity and create a life filled with joy, filled with purpose, and filled with fulfillment. My hope is that you find the answers to the questions that you have become curious about. I am committed to helping you reclaim your power, find healing, and create a life filled with meaning and happiness. Hi, it's Margarita from Raw, Real, Organic, Authentic Results. So today I wanted to have a look at the link between narcissistic abuse and weight gain. I hold a diploma in rapid transformational therapy, which is a hybrid super therapy. I'm a trauma-informed coach and a narcissistic abuse specialist. I hold diplomas in brain spotting, autogenic therapy, and hypnotherapy. And I use positive psychology and somatic healing to help you move out from being a narcissistic abuse survivor, even if you are going through it, to living a life of freedom and worthiness. So narcissistic abuse, as you are aware by now, I'm sure, is a type of emotional manipulation that can have phenomenally serious and long-lasting effects on your mental health and emotional well-being. Make no mistake, this is a form of psychological abuse where the narcissist uses various tactics to control you, to manipulate you, and to dominate you. Narcissistic abuse can cause feelings of low self-worth, anxiety, depression, and actually other mental health issues, which we'll talk in another podcast. But the thing is, recent studies have also showed a surprising link between narcissistic abuse and weight gain. So let's jump in and explore the connection between narcissistic abuse and the weight gain. And so you know I'm dealing with people on a daily basis, and predominantly most of them have weight gain and they wonder why they can't lose it. So if you are feeling this, do not feel guilt. We will move you through this. So narcissistic abuse is a complex form of emotional manipulation that can be really difficult to identify. So the narcissist may use tactics such as gaslighting, projection, and emotional blackmail to control you. And I've been there and I understand you. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation where the narcissist will deny your reality, making you doubt yourself, your own perceptions, and your own memory. Projection is where the narcissist attributes their negative traits and behaviors to you. Everything is your fault. Emotional blackmail is when the narcissist threatens to withhold love and affection or resources unless you comply with their very demands. So narcissistic abuse can occur in various forms of relationships, such as romantic, but not just romantic. It can happen in family relationships, friendships, and even employment. A narcissist can appear really charming, and that's why we fall for them, right? Charismatic and caring at first. But over time, their true intentions are really revealed. So victims of narcissistic abuse often struggle with feelings of worthlessness, anxiety and depression. And I know right now you're probably resonating with what I'm saying. The psychological effects of narcissistic abuse are very well documented. Victims of narcissistic abuse often feel post-traumatic stress disorder, which is PTSD, flashbacks, nightmare, and always being on hyper alert, hypervigilance. And you may also struggle with feelings of guilt, shame, and self-blame. I understand you. I've been there. Narcissistic abuse can cause significant damage to your own self-esteem and your self-worth, leading to a negative body image and disordered eating patterns. So victims of narcissistic abuse can also develop coping mechanisms such as emotional eating, for example, binge eating, or even restricting food intake. So emotional eating is when a person turns to food to cope with their emotions, and often eating when they're not even physically hungry. And binge eating, as you're probably well aware, is when a person consumes excessive amount of food in a short amount of time, often feeling out of control. And the word here is control, which we'll talk on another podcast as well. But restricting food intake, where a person limits their food intake to regain a sense of control over their life. So stress is a natural response, right, to challenging situations, like getting chased down the road by a tiger. But chronic stress can have negative effects on your physical and mental health. When a person is under stress, what literally happens in their body is your body will release cortisol. And that is a hormone that helps your body respond to stress. Now, cortisol increases blood sugar levels and it suppresses the immune system, which then slows down your metabolism. So over time, chronic stress disrupts your body's hormonal balance, and this leads to increase in cortisol levels and a slower metabolism. So we know that when stress and trauma of narcissistic abuse triggers our chronic stress, it leads to increase of cortisol levels and slow metabolism. So you may find it really challenging to lose weight, even if you are eating healthy and exercising regularly. And I know a lot of you will resonate with this and say, but Margarita, I am eating healthy. I don't understand why I'm not losing weight. I'm only eating salads, but I can't lose the weight. Your body's hormonal imbalance makes it difficult to shed the excess weight. And then what happens? It leads to your own frustration and then feelings of hopelessness. Because narcissistic abuse can trigger your chronic stress and emotional eating, we often use food as a way to cope with our emotions, and they become our own solace, our comfort food. Emotional eating can, as we know, lead to weight gain, which can also further damage your own, again, self-esteem and then your body image. So it's a vicious circle. The narcissist may also use food, for example, in a way to control and manipulate you, if maybe as a reward or as punishment. But in addition to emotional eating, you may also engage in other unhealthy behaviors, and that could look like drugs and alcohol abuse, self-harm, and it can even be risky sexual behavior. These are not your fault. It's your protector parts. It's a way of you trying to cope, trying to be back in control. But they can often further damage our mental and physical health, right? And makes it really, really hard to recover from narcissistic abuse. So as I mentioned earlier, cortisol is the hormone that helps your body respond to stress. When your body is under stress, cortisol levels increase, and this leads to an increase in sugar, blood levels, and a slower metabolism. When your cortisol levels remain high for an extended period of time, it can lead to weight gain, and usually it's around the midsection. And I see you nodding your head now going, yeah, so now I understand why. So if you are a victim of narcissistic abuse, it can be incredibly difficult to lose weight due to your body's hormonal imbalance caused by your chronic stress. So to lose the weight, it's essential to manage your stress levels, to regulate your cortisol levels, to support your body's natural healing process. And dealing with narcissistic abuse can be challenging, but there are coping mechanisms that can help. I can help you. I've been trained to help you, and this is how I helped myself. And have I gone through the weight gain? Absolutely. My journey, I didn't feel like eating because of all those cortisol levels pulsing through my body, and I lost an incredible amount. But then as my vagus nerve became weak, My brain and my gut didn't talk to each other, didn't understand when I was hungry, when I was full, and I used food as comfort. Did I put on weight? Absolutely. I remember walking across the street and somebody thinking I was pregnant. I wasn't. It was inflammation in the gut. And again, I can help you. But self-care practices such as exercise, meditation, mindfulness can also help you manage your stress levels and regulate your cortisol levels. So it's essential to focus on self-care and to actually prioritize it. And so many times I hear people saying, Margarita, I'll just wait a little bit longer. I'll do it myself. It's so hard to heal from narcissistic abuse when you don't have the right tools. And that is why I told you at the beginning of this podcast, I am trained in this sort of abuse. This is what I specialize in, and I'm able to bring you through this. Healing from narcissistic abuse and weight gain requires patience and persistence. It's crucial, absolutely crucial, to address the underlying issues that are contributing to the weight gain. Why you are now eating, why your eating patterns are like this, and why your chronic stress is now like this. And we uncover it all through my program, Recover, Reboot, Refuel Mastermind. We need to work through all of this because otherwise, you will be stuck in this system of going round and round and round in circles of this toxic feeling, of these toxic relationships. So I hope this has helped you a little bit understand that you are not alone. If you've put on weight, and I'm guessing if you've gone through narcissistic abuse at some point in time you have, and you are not alone in understanding that you can actually come through this. So reach out to me. Let's do it together. Let's get you on some good programs that are going to help heal your gut, your vagus nerve, your mind, your body, and your soul. With much love, Margarita.